All right, understanding your minus frames and your plus frames. So, when you are minus on block, you technically can't move those frames before the opponent can. And I did say technically. There is this thing called a barre. But anyway, when you are plus on block, you actually can move those frames before the opponent can, right? So if I was to go for my forward 1-2, I can't move these frames before the opponent can. The opponent can move 7 frames before I can, right? Um, and then like when you're plus on block, as you can clearly see, the opponent can't move 3 frames before I can. I can move 3 frames before the opponent can, right? So um, when you're plus on block and you decide to go for like a standing one, right? So Sub Zero is like plus on this, right? I'll go for a standing two. Why not? He's +3 on that. So if you decide to go with more pressure and like when you're plus on block, you have to understand your frame data. So you actually, what's this, 10 frames? Yeah. What you would actually want to do is that you would want to take those plus frames and subtract that with the next startup time of the next number that you decide to use, right? And when you're minus on block, you actually want to add that to the next startup time of the next number that you decide to use, right? And you'll get the true identity of your frames in a sense, right? And what your options are possibly in a situation, such as like me being -4, right? Like this actually would come out at 11 frames. So like if we were to look at Shang Tsung real quick, right? This knee move is 13 frames, right? So is it a knee move? Yeah. So if he was to do this, right? That he could be doing that because he thinks I'm going to be neutral ducking, right? So that's where the problem comes in at for him because if I read that he's going to do that, I can actually go for an Abare, right? So let's see here. Okay, there we go. So if I do this, I'm able to beat him out. You see that? Now, just because you are, actually, I can use that kick as an example. Yeah. Just because you are plus on block doesn't necessarily mean that you can just do whatever you want, especially against an opponent that has actual skill that understands these situations on a higher level. Um, you have to understand what your options are. You have to understand what they're possibly looking for, or you need to pay attention to how they respond when you're plus. Do they block, or do they attack? Do they try to armor you? You know what I mean? Like you got to think about those things as well. You know what I'm saying? When you're plus on block, normally when you're plus, the opponent tends to block. They don't, like the ones that I've faced. They tend to block. They don't typically challenge. But say for example, what do I want to use here? I'm trying to do a good example so you guys can understand it a lot better. So, you know what? I'm gonna switch characters because that's what the problem is.
Sub-Zero, Havoc, Frost, Serena, Cade, Mansion.
So Havoc is like plus on block. You know what I'm saying? On like a decent amount of his shit. Actually, now I think about it, holy shit. But say for example, he was to go for the 1-1 and then went for the 1-1 again, right? Obviously, if you press any standing normal, if you end up blocking this combo string, you're gonna get fucked up for it. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. But if he was to do this, you can actually neutral duck the second hit, right? Because it doesn't jail. It just, you know what I mean. If it did jail, that'd be some shit. But like you have the ability to like move out of the way. Another thing is like if you think that they're gonna pressure you more after they're +3 on block, you know, and you just don't want to deal with that situation. You want to get out of there as quick as possible. You can spin the bar meter. You know what I'm saying? like armor. The only problem is that they can bait you, and they could literally block, or they could set up a situation where they break your armor, and then they, you know, if that's possible, which I'm pretty sure it is, but you guys get the idea, right? So that's like your minus frames and plus frames in a sense. I mean, granted, their active frames play a huge role, and when it comes to block advantage, because like if you hit it on a later frame or active frame, it can either make you safer on block or more plus on block, depending on the character that you're actually using. So that's another thing for the minus frames and the plus frames. So there's other things about it as well, but I think you guys get the idea of it now. So hopefully, I guess, helped you guys out with this video or whatnot. But hopefully you guys are doing well out there, and peace out.